A portion of this video is sponsored by YieldStreet.
So how can Google take the Pixel to its next logical level, make it stand out from the pack, finally compete with the likes of Samsung and Apple? So look at this hotness. Look at this beauty that does not exist right now. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the absolutely fake Pixel Fold. But like everything that's soon to exist, at some point, it's gotta come out of the imagination. And the rumors are growing, the smoke is filling a room, and I think the fire of the Pixel Fold will be coming very soon, allegedly as soon as later on this year. Imagine Google getting back in the game, not just with better cameras, not just with better screens, not just with new software, but with an all new form factor for the Pixel line that gets phone enthusiasts excited and pumped, and personally gives me a device that I cannot wait to get back in my pocket. Let's talk about it. So obviously, I'm excited. I love everything that folds. I am such a homer for the Z Fold 2. I got a hard time even evaluating the device, so I'm obviously very excited. But these rumors are all fine and fun, but like reality eventually like sets in. What are we actually going to see from Google? So a few things I think we know so far is that Google is at least testing it. They're working on it, and that is in some form a real product. And it's likely to be a foldable, very similar to my sweet baby Z Fold 2 from Samsung. So meaning there's going to be a large screen inside that's going to fold in half to become kind of a really long, typical phone with a screen on the outside. So as of now, it seems like the size of that screen is 7.6 inches, and that's coincidentally the same size as the current Fold from Samsung. So to add to those similarities, Google has also reportedly tasked Samsung, unsurprisingly, with making the display on the inside. Why go and do it yourself when Samsung's doing a pretty good job of it right now? So from that, you can guess the screen will likely be more or less the exact same that we've got on the Z Fold 2, which means high refresh rate, high resolution, and actually fold, which is very cool with Samsung's ultra thin glass on top. On the flip side of that does mean we will have a crease in the middle, and folks that are kind of anti-fold have sort of always zeroed in on that crease being an eyesore. And it's not pretty, but to have a device that folds, it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
This portion of the video is sponsored by YieldStreet. It's hard to go anywhere online without seeing people talk about stock market and crypto, investments that tend to have huge highs and really quick lows, and it's been undulating for a while now. One day things are up, one day things are down, and for a lot of people, those make really good investments. But there's a whole other area of investments called alternative investments. What YieldStreet is doing, they've got professionals that are vetting a ton of alternative investment strategies, and then sort of creating a marketplace that you can pick and choose what you want to invest on. And my favorite part, it has low correlation to the stock market. So generally targeting yields anywhere from 7 to 13%. And YieldStreet's not like a fly by the night thing. Investors in the platform have invested over $1.6 billion to date. And YieldStreet's committed to, again, making things more inclusive by creating sort of a modern investment portfolio. And I really like being able to have a diversified portfolio and invest in things that I just wouldn't have the money to invest in otherwise, like art, real estate, commercial, legal finance, short-term notes, and a ton more. So if you want to check it out, create your account today at yieldstreet.com. Otherwise, we'll put all the links down below. So again, thank you to YieldStreet for sponsoring that part of the video. Back to the Pixel Fold.
So the other thing that we could expect that is somewhat backed up is the time frame. And this is where the excitement starts to come back. This phone is expected later in the year or 2022, according to friend of the channel and no eyebrows guy, John Prosser. So not too far away. So listen, really though, that's all we have of a confirmation at this point. And John's got a really good track record. But even with his leaks, there's not much tangible to go on. But there is a lot we can extrapolate from what Google is currently doing and what I think would make perfect sense for any new foldable. So I think it's pretty likely that we're gonna keep a very familiar Pixel design. It'll carry the Pixel name, it should carry the Pixel look and feel. And for years, the Pixel's been, let's say, utilitarian. Super not flashy and not overly high end. And I expect that to stay. In fact, I would totally welcome it. think it would be awesome to have a foldable that feels like a tool rather than an art piece. And if I'm honest, as much as I love using the Z Fold 2 from Samsung, I always feel like I am like one trip away from breaking this thing. It feels really fragile. Again, like a art installation in my hand. So if Google implemented the design of, let's say, the Pixel 5 on a larger scale, I for one would be very, very okay with that. So on the inside of this thing, I think what we're gonna see is a departure from what Google did with the Pixel 5. So instead of a mid-range processor, they're gonna go back to the top end from Qualcomm's Snapdragon line, and that's gonna be the 888, assuming that comes this year. But I think going back to Snapdragon's flagship line might be the easy answer. So let me explain a little bit. This phone is the perfect vessel opportunity for the Big G to introduce the rumored Whitechapel, and that is their in-house silicon that they are working on. And what a better way to show off their beast, their chops, and to flex on the rest of the world than introducing their own chip in their flagship foldable device. You look at Apple, be like, psh, M1 what? Drop kick it. Look at Whitechapel. Benchmarks it. Do what Apple does. Show the charts and how much faster the silicon is, and a new innovative design that by all accounts Apple is years away from introducing on their own. That would put Google on top of mind of absolutely everybody. But still a Pixel, so I think we are going to see the best camera Google has ever made on a phone. And that says a lot from a phone camera that is already amongst the best we've ever seen. So this could be the first true update we've seen in years with the Pixel. We actually did a video talking about the Pixel cameras have using essentially the same hardware for years, relying on software to make it better. Imagine if Google went for new hardware and then new software on top of it. That could be absolutely amazing. We could see true 8K and finally really good video. Multi-sensors, we don't have to pick between wide angle or telephoto. We could have both, maybe a crazy amount of zoom, similar to what Samsung's got, 5, 10, 15, even a 50 times space zoom inside of this. You can tell I'm just excited. This is what we talk about here in the studio, things that we love to see, and this is top of my list. So I want to make a video just to share my excitement. So keeping this going, those three big things aside, I also expect that it'll have all the usual stuff that a flagship phone should have. So 5G, wireless charging, fingerprint sensor, and I'm crossing my fingers just to hope that they will bring back Face Unlock. And I do think we will see a big baller, massive battery, probably two, one on each side of the fold, to really give this device all day battery life and also probably justify what I imagine is going to be a premium price of well over $1,000. Okay, so all those features, at least to me, sound great, but it still leaves the question as to like, why? Why should this phone exist? And why would it help Google in the smartphone space? And does, I guess, Google even need help? So if you look at all the other competitors here, folding phones at least appear to be the future. Apple is working on a foldable phone. We've certainly seen Samsung get in the game. We've seen dual screens from Microsoft. Every smartphone manufacturer that has a future is at the very least trying and exploring some sort of foldable device. And I think the answer to why Google want to do this is simple. Look at the Pixel model that Google has created. It's solid hardware, great camera, and great software that is always up to date. Those three things, to me at least, are what make a Pixel a Pixel. It's a phone that lives in the Google ecosystem and can be really reliable, utilitarian, and work as advertised. But what's missing is the excitement factor, something that gets the customer, and maybe it's just me talking, in the door. So now though, we thought that the price point of the Pixel 5 would be that solution that gets people excited again. But the Pixel 5 price cut from $1,000 to $700 from generation to generation, that was a really big deal. But at this point, it's clear it didn't solve the excitement problem. The Pixel is still a great phone in its current form, but it still sits on the back burner of most people's minds. So taking the great things that the Pixel has implemented into a cutting edge device almost forces people to pay attention, and I think seems like a great idea. And if there's a company that has the money and the resources to not only take the risk, but also pull it off, it's Google.